Hey everyone, it's Moose and Monk here. Just wanted to start this episode off by saying we are going to be covering some very heavy topics. I understand that these episodes of True Crime Freak Show may not be for everyone, so I'm giving you the opportunity now. If you are easily triggered or if any of these issues may cause problems for you, please go ahead and click off. Feel free to watch one of our other videos that's a little bit more family friendly than this one, but please, if you think that it may in any way trigger you or make you uncomfortable, click off of the video now.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of The FrEEK Show. And this week, we are trying something a little bit different. As requested, we decided to go ahead and do a true crime one. We plan on doing these once a month, in addition to our regular FrEEK Show videos. First of all, just want to go and say that in talking about this stuff, we mean no disrespect to any family members, and our deepest condolences to friends and family in regards to any of the people that we talk about going forward in any of these videos. That being said, today we are going to be talking about the case of Jessica Renee Johnson. And Moose, I know that you were saying that you learned a little bit about it when you were in school for criminology, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do know a little bit about the case already. I didn't know anything about it until I started looking into it for this episode, and my god, it is a clusterfuck. Like, and in my opinion, that's putting it very, very lightly.
Yeah.
Alright, so, suppose we should just get into this. Just to let you folks know at home watching this, we have a tendency of making nervous jokes and nervous laughter. So if we do, we don't mean anything by it. And yeah, it's just
a defense mechanism.
It is.
I'm the type of person that if I don't like laugh or crack a joke, I'll have either like an anxiety attack or I'll start crying, and I don't think anybody wants either of those to happen at the moment. So it's honestly no disrespect is meant. If you see me like smiling or laughing or something, either of us, it's not meant in any disrespectful way. It's because that's how we cope with trauma and with really dark stuff like what we're about to discuss.
And this case is actually really dark. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get into it. I'll go ahead and talk a bit about her before I actually get into where things went wrong and what happened. Alright, so Jessica Renee Johnson was a 37-year-old single mother. And she had 2 children that she loved very deeply. And to say that Jessica was beautiful would be an understatement, in my opinion. Like, she was gorgeous. Everybody knew it, yeah, including her. Have you seen pictures of her? Like, what she looked like? Okay, then I'm not going to send you any.
She was beautiful.
Like, a knockout. But, like, she knew this, and she would never go anywhere or do anything without looking her best. And even though she did have some troubles, mainly with drugs, she was working on getting herself better. Like, she had even went into rehab and everything like that. But within her last few years, her taste in men seemed to change, and she started to go for the bad boys. Jessica's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Garland, was one of those guys. He was never really stable and had problems with drugs and the law, but Jessica looked at the good in him and probably hoped that she could save him. That's what a lot of her friends seemed to think. Her and her children lived with Jessica's parents. One day she had told her family that she would be with Garland for the next couple days to work on their relationship. On June 1st, 2017, she had FaceTimed her mother and her young daughter, saying that she would be coming home that day. But Jessica never did. Her mother kept trying to contact her, but had no luck. This was very out of the ordinary for Jessica. She would always respond to her mother and usually even send her locations so that her mom knew exactly where she was. Like, her mother has even gone and said that she would tell her when she's going to go and make drug deals and stuff like that. Like, when she would be going to go pick up and everything like that. Like, her mother always knew where she was. So this was really out of the ordinary. And unfortunately, this is where things start to get rough.
And I can relate to that, like, you know, being 23, I still text, you know, my family if I'm going out somewhere or something. I still text them when I get to work half the time. So, I mean, you know, just like from personal experience,
Parents always want to know where you are.
Yeah, mom would freak out. Like, if I don't tell her, like, if she's like, text me when you get to work. If I haven't texted her within 15 minutes of me being, you know, where I'm supposed to be, like, we know that it takes an average of, you know, 20 minutes for me to get to work. If I haven't texted her within 30 minutes, she texts me to make sure that I'm okay. Like, there's always that sense of, like,
yeah,
you know, making sure
mm-hmm.
that, and I do the same thing with them, you know, when they go somewhere, I'm like, hey, text me when you get there. I want to make sure you're okay.
Well, years ago, I lived maybe a 5-minute drive away from my parents, and anytime we would be leaving there, they'd be like, let us know you got home okay. It's just a parental thing. And mm-hmm. even at the age of 37, Jessica still did this. On June 2nd, somewhere between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., a mail carrier went to a mailbox and was taken aback in shock and horror. There was Jessica's body leaning up against the 3-foot mailbox post, lifeless, with shoelaces tied both around her neck and around the post. The mail carrier called over another carrier who took a picture of the body. Apparently he used to be a mortician, I believe I heard. And then he called the police. And I am going to, Moose, I'm going to send you this picture. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. If you guys want to go and look at the picture, you guys can Google it. It's seriously fucked up.
And again, I know we put the disclaimer at the beginning of this, but if any of this begins to get too much for anyone, any point in this, please turn it off.
Please turn it off. Let's see.
Yeah, I've seen that picture.
You've seen this one?
That's one of the ones that we saw in.
Yeah, I was trying to find it completely uncensored, just so that I would have it like in my own brain, and see it myself. But unfortunately, this was the only picture that I could find. It just has her face blurred out for those of you at home.
I mean, not even in like the class that I took, where we, like, there were very few that, like, crime scenes that we saw with like unblurred photos. All we saw was the blurred photo of this, even in the class.
So the police decided to rule this as a suicide. However, there's some evidence that kind of points to foul play. The house that her body was found at belonged to Garland's friend Jesse. Jesse's house had been described as a trap house. It was a party house where people went specifically to do drugs. Garland, who was never stable, would sometimes stay there for a few weeks at a time, just needing a place to live. Jessica was visiting Garland there the last couple days to try and work on their relationship. Jesse said that it was the first time he has seen them together in months, and they spent most of the time arguing. Like, I guess from the moment like they showed up there, it was just arguing. At one point on June 1st, Jessica went to pick up her friend Katie from work. Katie had paid $300 for Garland to fix her car, which is why Jessica had it in the first place, and had to pick her up. Jessica was getting a little late getting there, and the car hadn't been fixed, but Jessica was in hysterics. Jesse had called her and told her that Garland was in his bedroom with 2 other women. Katie drove back to Jesse's and went inside to get Jessica's things so she could take her home. But Jessica wanted to talk to Garland and I guess work things out. Katie left out of frustration. And I'm pretty sure that, well, I've never, well, okay, yes, I have been there myself, but it's usually me on that end of things where my friends are like, don't go back to her. And it can get really, really frustrating when they don't listen. You're nodding your head right now because you're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's been there with me.
Several times.
Yep. At another point that day, Jessica called another friend. Jessica was panicking. She had locked herself in the bathroom and was crying, saying she was afraid of Garland. Jessica had often told her friends and family that if anything were to happen to her, to find Garland. But this was something else completely. Her friend showed up to pick her up, but was stopped by Garland, who said that Jessica was in hysterics and not acting right. And so it said that she needed to get her out. But for some reason, after 45 minutes, Jessica didn't leave, and another friend left her there out of frustration. Why she wouldn't just leave, I don't know. I'm sorry, but if you're calling someone crying in hysterics saying, you need to come get me, like, why wouldn't you just leave with them?
I will say,
I don't understand that.
There's a common thing. If he had been abusive or manipulative, that's a very common thing that, if I were to call one of my friends and be like, get me out of here, between the time that I had called and the time that they arrived, something could have happened within the household that...
But apparently it didn't. She was still in the bathroom. And he was even just like, she's in hysterics right now. And was even saying, you need to get her out of here.
Maybe there had been a time in the past, though, that he had been like, if you leave, I'll do something drastic.
Well, they were on again, off again a lot. From everything that I've read and heard, he does not seem like the best of people, to put it lightly. I don't know him personally to really be able to say one way or another, but from everything that I've heard, he doesn't sound like the greatest fucking person.
So like I said, there's every possibility that something he had said or done, either presently at that point or in the past, had led her to be like, no, I can't leave.
Maybe. We'll talk a little bit more about him and his past a little bit later in this video. But anyway, presumably around 6 p.m., and this is still June 1st, according to Garland and Jesse, Jessica was still going nuts. They claim that she had quickly even pulled out the laces from her shoes and was threatening to kill herself with them. To which Garland was just like, I've had it, and shut and locked the door on her. And they said that was the last that they saw of her. That was the last anybody heard from her, aside from her son, who received a text at 3:30 a.m. And that was the last anybody saw or heard from her until her body was found the next morning. Alright, so let's kind of go over the evidence as well as the lack of it, as you guys will find out. As I said, the body was found next to a mailbox post where she was tied to. And as you saw the picture, she was in like a kneeling position, wearing clothes that nobody recognized. Everybody who saw that picture, who knew her, were just like, whose fucking clothes are those? Like, nobody fucking knew. Like, it's not the type of thing that she would wear, ever. Like, she wasn't even the type of, go out to the mailbox in my pajamas. Like, she had to get herself ready before she left the house at all. Jessica's mother has even said that she would, during like these times where she would be having troubles and would like go stay with Garland for like a few days or whatever, she would still come home and shower before, like every day. She would still come home and shower and get ready. She was found with no makeup on. Her shoes were found far away in Jesse's driveway, and her purse had a broken clasp. Her hand was gripping, I think I heard that it was her wallet or her phone. I forget which. Seems to kind of vary. I heard both of them. And money was missing from her purse. Apparently she had about $500 in her purse, and there was only $80 in there. The shoelaces were tied together at the very end of the laces, very, very neatly. And I do want to show you a picture of this. Just because of how close it is and how tight that knot is. A lot of forensic evidence, like a lot of forensic scientists will go and be like, there's no way that she could have done that in the dark.
Mm-mm.
And the shoelace was around her neck and over her hair, and it was apparently pulling on her cheek, almost giving her like a snarl position. And I asked you to bring a necklace.
Yeah.
Do me a favor and go ahead and put that on for me.
I have to take the
Yeah,
headphone
go
off
ahead.
Okay.
Did you notice what you did there?
Yeah.
You pulled your
took
hair
my
out from it. It's like an instinctual thing to do. Whenever you have
It's
long hair,
uncomfortable if you've got it over.
Exactly. And to think that this was like, it's really rough to even think about, but like having that string like pull on her and not only suffocate her, but also be pulling out her hair and in a kneeling position, like that would have been extremely painful.
I'll just say, I've had someone like take one of these and like yank on it, and I can say even from that it cuts off enough of your air supply and like strangles you enough even from like 10-15 seconds to make it extremely uncomfortable, and to the point where it's, if you I can't imagine having my hair down and having that, because
And that's
having
how it
long
was.
hair, it's very sensitive. And you wouldn't do that to yourself. Every time that I put on a necklace, when I put this one on, I put it on, pull my hair out. Any of my long necklaces, I pull my hair out. If it's down, if it's braided, if it's in a ponytail.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the point that I was trying to make with the whole necklace thing, is that it's pretty much instinctual. You do it automatically. You pull your hair out. You make sure that your hair isn't being pulled by it.
Yeah.
So only a partial autopsy was performed, which showed that she had both Xanax and meth in her system. As I said, the coroner and the police report states it was a suicide. She also has strange marks on her hand and arm, blood under her fingernails, odd bruises on her arms that almost kind of made it look like she was like restrained, like right here, as well as what looks like a boot print on her arm. And here, I'm going to show you a couple pictures of that as well.
I've seen this picture too.
You've seen these pictures?
Yeah.
The second one is just close up.
Huh?
I said the second one is just a close up of it, but it kind of shows a bit more of the boot print and the bruising on the arm.
Yeah. And that's very like pointed bruising.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a like when I wear leather cuffs on my arms for cosplay, I have ones that clasp here and here, It's like a clasp dug into her skin, because I've had those bruises,
Mm-hmm.
because I've done, like, stage fighting, and I've done, like, so when you hit someone stage fight and you do that, that'll leave a bruise if you hit it hard enough or you have it there for long enough. So some kind of restraint's gonna leave something like that.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what everybody else says. Now, some of you may be questioning this, kind of like how we are, like, what the fuck? This doesn't sound like a suicide. And I fully agree, it doesn't. The police, however, botched up the whole case, in my opinion. From the very moment they even showed up on the scene, they were driving all over the crime scene. Like, I actually have a picture of the crime scene.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to find tire prints that are accurate. You're not going to find, footprints that are
Exactly,
accurate.
because they were all over the
There's so
scene.
much contamination.
Exactly, so much contamination. They put the clothing that they found her in a biohazard bag, which caused the coroner or the mortician to burn the mysterious clothing that nobody fucking recognized. Like, instead of testing it, they put it in a biohazard bag and it got fucking destroyed.
Okay, this is a really, like, poor reference, I guess. Have you seen Knives Out?
Yes.
Okay, when she's investigating with him and she realizes that he's onto her, she intentionally messes up what could be solid evidence. She walks on the path where there's footprints already. She throws the piece of broken siding away. There's several instances, and that's almost what this feels like.
Well, just wait till you hear this. They lost the shoelaces. Let me repeat that for you. They lost the shoelaces. The supposed cause of death, and they fucking lost them. No idea where they fucking went. Jesse also had a security camera set up, and it was pointing in that direction. But he said that the police never asked to see the footage. And when the folks at True Crime Daily, which is something that Chris Henson does, they asked if they could see it, and he gave multiple fucking excuses as to why they couldn't. Didn't know the password. It was broken. Oh, well, it's not broken, but maybe it wasn't on. And you know what? It's probably been recorded over. I've never even bothered to check the footage. As well as when the police were in his yard, him and a few other people were just sitting there on their porch. Didn't even bother to go down there to see, like, what the hell was going on.
I
Like,
will say, however, like, I have been known to sit on the porch during, like, when
if
the
it was in your
cops are in
fucking
our
yard,
the cops were in our yard at one point looking for somebody, and we just kind of sat there. Eventually they did come up and tell us what was happening, but we just kind of sat there and watched the shit show.
Okay. All right, I can give that one a slide. Garland willingly went to the police station for questioning. And at first, him and Jesse say that she must have killed herself because of the evidence, like the way she was found, the way they said that she was acting the night before. And remember how I said that they were how she was pulling the laces out of her shoes?
Yeah.
First of all, that's not easy to do in general.
No, I just had to relace a pair of Converse, and that's
Guess what?
a feat.
Guess what?
What?
She had fucking Converse. You don't pull laces out of Converse. It takes work just to get those things on and tied and untie them and get them off.
Okay, so I just bought a new pair of high tops, but I have a pair that was exactly like this, and they were brown, and I needed to paint them red for cosplay. the process of getting those freaking shoelaces out took me like half an hour because of the way that they're laced and the way you have to
Mm-hmm.
pull them because they're so long.
Exactly. But after the story started blowing up, they seemed to change their tune, and they started agreeing that there was no way she could ever do that to herself. The reports estimate that she died somewhere between 2 and 3:30 a.m. You're looking confused.
Sorry. Her son got a text at 3:30.
Yep. It means that that she died either just before her son received that text from her or while she was fucking dying. They would check her phone, however, the password seemed to have changed just after that text. And Apple won't unlock her phone without the password, even though the phone is in her father's name and she is also deceased.
I will say I do have experience with this being a problem. Um, my uncle died
Mm-hmm.
over the past summer, or like last summer, and we were trying to get into his laptop. We did not know the passwords at the time. And we had no way of finding out the passwords because it was literally 2, 3 days after it happened and we were trying to figure this stuff out. And I linked all of his stuff to my phone so that I could figure out how to get his passwords. I tried going through his email and doing it. I tried going through the Samsung company, whatever, for the computer. And I could not get, and I called and I explained the situation and could not get any kind of help and could not get the password.
And it's really insane if you stop and think about it, especially since they told them she's murdered. There may be evidence on here, and they're like, can't do it.
Yeah.
And the phone could have been unlocked with her fingerprint. However, the police refused to do that, and due to the family being so distraught, as well as for monetary reasons, the family actually had the body cremated after the police said that they had everything that they needed. Which, of course, they fucking didn't. The police also sent her shoes back to her family, which had blood on them.
Did they
Uh-huh.
test the blood?
No. And now they can't because the shoes have been contaminated because they got sent back to the family.
Yeah, this is some shady ass police work.
Um, a, f- a full autopsy was never even performed, so the exact cause of death can never be determined. They
If
went and
there's
wrote on
even
there suicide, and they're like, okay, that's it. They didn't actually perform a full autopsy.
if there's even a suspect of foul play, they're
Apparently, there
supposed to
wasn't
do.
to them. It wasn't until after like the body was cremated and stuff like that that the family really started looking at everything and was just like, wait, this ain't right.
That's something that like the police should have.
Oh yeah. Um so the family ended up hiring a outside forensic scientist, one of the ones that actually worked on the Casey Anthony case. And he said that there was no way she could have done it to herself. A PI who was a former police officer in the state of Mississippi, which is where all this happened, he even offered his assistance to the family, and he agrees that there was no way Jessica could have done this, and that the police messed up the entire case. They botched everything up.
Yeah.
So yeah, unfortunately, unless someone comes forward, we'll never know what happened for sure, unless Apple unlocks her phone for them, and there's evidence on there.
I think that Apple should be like, okay, As
And
insensitive as it may be, if you at least send in a death certificate, we'll unlock it.
and the phone wasn't even in her name. The
It was in her
phone is
dad's.
exactly. You would think that he would just be able to be like, it's my plan. She passed. Unlock this shit.
So, my next question. Is there not a federal database of fingerprints?
They
Was
won't
she
do it.
never... Why?
I don't know. But they've
If
even
there
gone
is...
and suggested that. They've even been like her prints have to be on file. Like even like bringing in the corpse, I'm pretty sure they fingerprint them.
Yeah. If
But
she has been...
She's
If
tried
she's been
asking if
thrown in the
they.
drunk tank, they fingerprint you.
Yep. Yep. And she's tried asking if like they would like do something as far as like making like a fake finger or something, or
Yeah.
something that they could use to unlock her phone, and they said no.
Why? My second question. Funeral homes usually take fingerprints.
Well, I don't know how long she was actually at a funeral home because she was cremated.
Autopsies and funeral homes take fingerprints.
Nobody will give them access to fingerprints.
If there is suspected foul play,
Nobody will give her the fingerprints. They've
technically,
tried. Like, her mother is still on this shit every fucking day. Like, trying to get this shit
I
resolved
mean,
and trying to find answers. And
if there was
they
any
will
way
not
for
do...
them to get some
There's...
kind of warrant or something.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that the police in bumfuck Mississippi obviously aren't doing their job very well.
Oh, that's to say the least.
But,
And
I mean, if
so
you
Jesse
escalated
and
it,
Jesse and Garland seem to think that their theory is that the police are in on it, and she was killed by a CI, and the police are covering up for the CI, so that the CI doesn't get in trouble. Do I think that the police are covering it up? Yes, but I think that they're covering it up to save their own fucking asses.
yeah, I
Like
think that and a mixture of just like, how can...
Oh, they've already caught so much flack from people calling in and yelling at them and being burned on the news outlets and stuff like that. Like, they know that they done fucked up royally on this case.
How can you do so much wrong? I
I
mean,
don't
like
know.
one or two little...
Everything about this case, though.
Everything.
Everything.
Okay, sending the shoes back might have been one thing. Or, at first not asking for the tapes until, like, I don't know, maybe even a week later.
They never
But
did. The
everything,
police never asked them.
everything piling up, though, is one or two times is a coincidence. 3 times is a pattern.
And this is every fucking time.
Yeah. So,
Like,
I mean, there's no excuse.
There really isn't. Like, the police fucked up this so much. I feel so bad for her family. Because now, unfortunately, because of really shitty police work, they'll never have the answers that they deserve to have. And whoever did this, I don't believe it was suicide. I'm not saying it's completely out of the question. Just because everybody goes and says things like, oh, this person, we never saw it coming. Like, so there is that factor, and myself, as well as yourself, we've struggled with depression and suicide, like, in our own lives and stuff like that. And hope you don't mind me saying that. But so
No, I mean,
really comes to a point of, I'm not saying it's completely out of the question.
but it's
It's
unlikely.
highly unlikely. Because, okay, they said that she was doing all this stuff at 6 p.m. Going out saying she was going to kill herself. And pulling her shoelaces out of her shoes. And they didn't hear from her at all the rest of the night. People were coming and going all night. walking by that fucking mailbox. Even in the morning, people were walking by. And nobody saw anything, and nobody saw, like, nobody noticed.
So it makes me almost wonder if maybe, and this terminology is so, like, this is very bad terminology, and I apologize. I'm trying to be super, like, sensitive about this. If maybe she was literally strung up post-mortem.
That's what a lot of people think, but it would have had to have been done super soon. Because there's no way that they could have got, like, a lot of people, like, a lot of experts have gone and said, you wouldn't be able to get her body like that as soon, like, when rigor mortis started setting in.
Oh, no. But, I mean, you know,
But the fact that...
they didn't do a full autopsy, so they don't know the full cause of death.
Exactly.
She had 2 drugs in her system, but that doesn't...
It doesn't even mean that she was high when she died.
Yeah. It just means that they were in her system.
Exactly. And they just fucked up the case. Like, they fucked up everything. Everything. And it just honestly really irks me. You know? It's like... A lot of people are going and saying, oh, well, you couldn't have done that off a mailbox. Technically, you could have. But the fact that she was supposedly fucked up in hysterics, it would have been dark out, super late, and because of the area that it's in, there's not a lot of street lights. So how would she get it tied so precise right there on the end? And also, you saw the picture, she's like leaning up against the mailbox. If she were trying to do that to herself, she would have had to have been pulling away from it. She wouldn't be leaned up against it.
Am I the only one who feels like it's not coincidence that it was done with shoelaces, and maybe somebody who knew that she had been pulling her shoelaces out and threatening it with that?
Or maybe people could have just came up with that story.
Like,
I mean, her shoes were not even on her. They weren't even near her body. They were in the driveway.
It seems too convenient.
It's way too convenient. That's way too shady of a story. And also, I feel like it's also worth mentioning that I don't know if they're still together or not, but Garland was also seeing somebody else, like, while he was seeing her. And this girl has gone and said, no, he was with me that entire night and for 2 days after.
Oh, that's...
She's giving him an alibi that doesn't even make sense, considering he said, hey, I was here when, like, I was here that day. I saw her that day.
Yeah.
He went into the police station for questioning, like, that day or the day after. So she's trying to say, no, he was with me the entire time. No, he fucking wasn't. Why is she giving him a fucking alibi? And the people at True Crime Daily, I believe that's what it's called, she told them where they could actually find him and talk to him. So they caught up with him outside of a fucking courthouse where he was currently there on battery and domestic abuse charges against said girlfriend who sent them there, who gave them the alibi. So he definitely has a record of domestic abuse. That's a fucking given at this point. And I don't know, man. Like, when they talked to him about it, he said, I don't even care about clearing my name. I just want to know what happened to her. And her family deserves to know. Yes, their family's blaming me, but I don't blame them for that. They need to blame somebody. I don't care about clearing my name. I just want to know what happened to her. And also, apparently, sometime after 6 p.m., I forgot to mention this, one of Jesse's roommates received a text from her saying, I can't take this anymore.
It's just, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and there's a lot of evidence pointing towards one or two people. Not gonna lie. Not saying that they definitely did it, because I don't know, and unfortunately nobody will fucking know unless somebody comes forward. And I guess the mom has even gone and said that if somebody were to go to her and be like, "This is what happened," she wouldn't even call the police on them. She wouldn't put them in jail. She just wants to know what happened to her daughter, and I don't blame her.
No.
I mean, she's gone and said that, like, pretty much her grandkids and now great-grandchild, because her son had a baby, like, they are the only things that are keeping her going right now. Like, there's actually a Facebook page, What Happened to Jessica Johnson. And if anybody watches this video, if you have any information, go to them, because they deserve to know.
And this is still an open case.
Oh, yes. It's very much an open case. And unfortunately, it's going to remain open.
Yeah.
Which really...
Unless someone comes forward and, you know, it may be someone that, you know, has been mentioned in this video, somebody that, you know, was close to her. It could be somebody totally different. But until someone comes forward with some sort of solid information, this is going to remain an open case, and nobody deserves to have an open case.
Especially with something like this. It's like something so horrible, and the way that the whole case was botched by police. Yes, you got away with it. Fucking congratulations, you asshole. Her family deserves to know. So, our first true crime video.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's just a lot.
A lot. You okay?
I mean, yeah.
You sure?
Oh, you should have seen me in school. It was, you know, a weekly thing, me being like this. Going through case files and stuff is hard, because you go through and you see, you know, all the stuff that people missed, or all the stuff that people found and just kind of brushed away. And you see, you know,
especially with a case like this,
and you hear stories about what people went through and what people are currently going through, the stuff that her mother is trying to do to get this case solved. And it's heartbreaking to know that someone out there knows exactly what happened, and is either too much of a coward or doesn't care enough to come forward and say something, to give her mother, to give her family closure of some sort. And it's hard.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what they're going through. What they've been going through for the past few years. Like, this was one hell of a first true crime video, that's for sure. Yeah, and like, her son was 19, I believe, and her daughter was like 8. When
now they're growing up without a mother because
and her son just had a baby named, I believe that they actually named the baby after her, but now that baby has to go without a grandparent too. And especially with the brutality and the gruesomeness of this, it's not right that they have to go without an answer.
I mean, if you choose to go look at some of those pictures, please be forewarned, they're not pretty.
No.
But if you look at the ones on her arm, I mean, there's no way that, you know, also, there's a very obvious shoe print here.
Those marks, those little red marks that were on her hand, they weren't there before. Those had appeared there sometime in between when Jessica saw her friends that day on the 1st, and her body was found.
I mean, just it's it's difficult to look at this
Yeah.
stuff, and you know, these videos are going to be rough. And
Yes,
I
very
I will
rough.
say that because you're going through and looking at someone whose life was taken away from them.
Hmm.
Not only that, but you're looking at the families, and you're looking at, you know,
It's not
that's
like the other
she's
freak
somebody's
shows.
daughter.
It's not.
She's somebody's mom.
Hmm. And this isn't like the other freak shows either, where it's like urban legend or story goes like this. Here's the folklore. This is an actual thing that happened and is still an open investigation. And it's rough.
And like I said, I was, a criminology student. Going through this kind of stuff is, you know, my job. um, and it never gets easier. The stuff I've seen, the case files that I've been through, it never gets easier seeing closed cases, open cases, just seeing the brutality and the genuine lack of humanity that comes with these cases. It's These videos are not something to be taken lightly, and I know
No.
that this information and this research was rough for you,
Yeah.
and it took a toll on you.
Yeah. Like, I was even
And
going and sending you messages being like, dude, this case is
oh yeah.
fucked up. Like, within 5 minutes of looking into it, I'm like, this is fucked up. Um, but
So,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I especially don't mind. Not only is it a case of like we were asked to do this, but after looking into it, I do agree with your friend that suggested it. Um, that her story needs to be told. Not enough
it's
people
important
know
to get
about
this
this.
out
It's
there.
a very important story, and it's heartbreaking. It really is.
And even I know we have a small following,
It's very small.
but even if one more person knows about it, that one person could tell five more people. And maybe one day her family will get some kind of closure. Her family will get
I
some
can only
kind of
hope.
answers.
I can only hope.
The only thing that we can do is, try to spread the word and spread the information and let people know, what happened that we know of, and hope that, you know, it gets to enough people
Yeah.
that it makes even a small difference.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for this week. We'll go and give our usual spiel, but I really don't feel up to it. I don't think you do either. So until next week when we come back with our regular spooky ass shit. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Hey everyone, Moose and Monk here again. I just wanted to reiterate that this was a really heavy episode. If you need to reach out to either of us, we understand and we will gladly talk to you. Um, if there is anyone else that you feel like you need to reach out to that you're more comfortable with, please do so. Episodes like this are only going to be about once a month, but they are all going to be pretty heavy due to the nature of this segment.
Yeah.
Um, Please, if you feel like maybe this one made you too uncomfortable, maybe err on the side of caution. Don't watch the next one. Please, as I said, reach out to us if you feel the need to. We're both here. You can find us both on any of our social medias,
Mm-hmm.
and we will gladly talk to you if
Yeah.
you need it.
For sure.
Thank you guys so much
Thank you so much for
for
watching.
watching.